Hey guys, it's Dr. A. Imagine for a moment that someone has given you their recipe to the pound cake that you absolutely love every time they make it. Let's say it's your mom, and your mother makes the best pound cake ever. It is moist, it just kind of melts in your mouth. It has the right amount of sugar. It's not too sweet. It's just perfect. And mom sits down and she writes out that recipe and she gives it to you and she says, hey, if you follow this recipe, I guarantee your cake is going to taste just like mine. So you go into the kitchen, you pull out the recipe, you gather the ingredients, but you don't have everything. You don't have butter, so you say, maybe I'll use margarine. So you substitute the butter for margarine. It calls for a certain kind of flavoring. Vanilla, let's say. You say, I don't have vanilla flavoring. I guess I'm going to have to use almond. It calls for a certain kind of flour. And you say, I can't use that flour. I don't have that flour, so I'm going to use this flour. And before you know it, you bake the cake, but you didn't follow the recipe. It comes out of the oven. You wait for it to cool off. And you slice into it with a big old dollop of ice cream on it, and you take a bite, and that cake does not taste like your mother's. What happened? You didn't follow the recipe. Here's the point I'm making today. You see, I've been given a recipe to do something, and today I failed. Yes, I failed. And my first reaction was I cried. I boo-hooed and cried, and I thought, wow, it was just made me feel bad. I felt really bad. Then I thought to myself, what's the lesson here? And I had to ask myself, have you been following the recipe, Angela? And the answer was no. So I decided to take a lesson from failure. And the lesson is, when you're given a recipe, you follow the recipe. If you don't have all of the ingredients, you go get all of the ingredients. If it says cook it at 350, cook it at 350, not 375. If it says use vanilla flavoring, use vanilla flavoring. Follow the recipe. Because if you don't follow the recipe, you cannot be upset if you don't get the same results. So I'm kind of talking to myself today. That's a lesson I learned for myself today. So I'm going back to the basics, y'all. I'm following the recipe, and I know that if I follow the recipe, I will get the results that the people who've given me the recipe are getting. It's got to be. It's guaranteed. So get back to the basics. If you failed at something, if your marriage is failing, if your business is failing, if your relationships with your friends are failing, if your life is failing, you probably need to get back to the recipe. You probably need to get back to the basics. Go back to the foundation and make sure it's strong and start all over again. Because that's the good thing about life. When you fail, you can pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and try again. And that's what I'm doing, and that's what I suggest you to do too. So this is Dr. A with the big life lesson today, getting back to the basics. See you on tomorrow's video. Bye.